Hi, good afternoon. We are the team number 6 with our topic coastal dunes, and our team is confirmed by Lilian Cavazos, Carla Martinez, Montserrat Pinto, Ana Pintor, y Camila Torres.
Coastal dunes. Coastal dunes are formed by mounds of sand, grains, or grains of biological origin, especially calcareous, resulting from the disintegration of coral reefs and mollusk shells. The dunes have very different microenvironments because of the winds and tides. Their shape, size, and orientation can vary, and they can reach heights of 30 to 40 meters. The vegetation is important to determine the type of dunes. The movement of dunes is when the wind carries sands from the hollow and carries them to the top. It helps to identify the type of the dunes, types of coastal dunes. At first, we have the embryonic or frontal dunes. They are relatively small and usually found closer to the sea in parallel to the coastline. Frontal dune plain. These are dunes ridges usually parallel to the shoreline. We have the images. The hollows are found in the lowest parts of the dunes. We have the parabolic dunes that they resemble a parabola and are formed by the movement of dunes, previously mentioned. We have the pargent dunes that they are like the parabolic dunes, but the arms are in the direction of winds, and the parabolic have the opposite of the direction of the winds. We have the blowouts that are like depressions formed by wind erosion. We have the transgressive dunes that are dunes that have advanced along the coast, and the fossil dunes that are burial dunes. Also the primary dunes, secondary dunes, and tertiary dunes. At the first, the embryonic dunes are those that are from the top of the beach, and behind the embryonic and the frontal dunes, we have the primary dunes that have a lot of vegetation and have a strong movement of sand. And the secondary dunes are located inland, and they have a little bit of movement of the sand. And finally, the tertiary dunes that don't have sand movement. There are the type of dunes, and we have a table with the type of dunes in each state of Mexico and the percentage of the total area.
Where in Mexico is located? Coastal dunes are abundant in Mexico. They cover just 800,000 hectares distributed along the Pacific Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico, and are found on the coast of 17 states covering 156 municipalities. The dunes are distributed behind the most sandy beaches, where the highest tide reaches. They are found on almost all of the country's sandy coasts: Baja California, Baja California Sur, Sonora, Jalisco, Tamaulipas, Veracruz, Quintana Roo, Yucatan, and Campeche. These two maps show where the coastal dunes are located in Mexico.
Okay, now we have the adaptive factors. Wind is for use, wind is one of the most important factors because it shapes this ecosystem. It transports and erodes the sand, and this makes that this ecosystem is very mobile. And we have to the sand and the sediment because the sand is unstable, and with the wind, it is in constant movement. Water filters the sand very quickly, and the salt stays on the top. The plants don't have much water because the sand filters this water. And for this, these plants and the species have to adapt because they don't have no water and they have so much salt. And two, we have the sunlight because it affects the temperature and the evaporation of the water. And the relief on the topography is because the height of the dune and the distance with the ocean of the coast also determine how the waves and wind impact the dune. Nutrients. This is for the sand don't have enough nutrients for the plants and the species that are here, so they need adapt to this ecosystem. In Mexico, we have a different climate because it's not the same the ocean, Pacific Ocean, and Atlantic Ocean because it's different location. And the predominant climate on the Mexican coast is warm soothing. As you can see, is above 40%. Other climates are also common on the coast are warm humid, semi-warm, subhumid, warm semi-arid, and warm arid. Other types of climate occurs in less than 10% of coastal location. The salinity is because here is extreme and the sand is here in the sand. The vegetation and the plants must tolerate to survive in the dunes. The ocean waves and currents is here because tides bring sand and they distribute the sediments and contribute to the ecosystem dynamic. The temperature is a big factor because it influences the climate of the region where the dunes are located. Because how I say before is now the same temperature in the Pacific Ocean as the Ocean Atlantic. The latitude is the same because geographic location means that the temperatures vary significantly between the north and south of the country. Seasonality is in the winter is now the same climate as the here we are so hot, so the temperatures vary between the seasons and it affects the sun and other factors.
Biotic factors. The communities of plants in the dunes are halophytic. This means that they will grow in soils with high soil salt environments. Now, in the next slide, we have the flora, the most common species. We have the chamiso, the sea purslane, the black Chechen, silver palm, the sea gray, the beach vine. Then we have that there's a huge variety of plants depending on the zone. Amongst these, we can find shrubs, trees, weeds, vines, brassicas. It's also nice to notice that beyond the pioneer zone, there are other communities that develop, such as grassland, desert scrub, with cacti or scrub with palm groves. Also, wetland communities that develop in low-lying areas where moisture accumulates and the water table rises. Now, in the next part, we have three large environments. Dune environments are where the sand movement predominates. Plants get buried in the sand, etc., etc. Plants in this environment are capable of growing on bare sand, share of that characteristic. They are well-developed root systems, and they are able to retain sand. The growth is stimulated by the sand as well, and they are called pioneers. Now, in the next slide, we have some examples of these guys. We have that in the North Pacific, the siamos, gores. In the South Pacific, we have Uniola piteri, Lluvia pilosa. In the Caribbean, we have sea lavender, coastal sand carpet. In the Gulf of Mexico, we have Gulf croton and coastal rice. In the Gulf of California, we have Romanillos. Now, in humid and floodable environments, they are found in depression, lower areas. We have that in the North Pacific. There's beautiful carpet. We also have the nutgrass. Then in the Gulf of California, we have romeritos and Aldrich linares. In the Caribbean, we have glasswort, fig leaf. In the Gulf of Mexico, we have sea lettuce, bowhead grass. In the South Pacific, we have desert hyacinth and salt marsh grass. Now, in the stabilized environments, which are those that the vegetation has covered, has stabilized, there is that in the North Pacific, we have the canopillo, the fish grass, the Celia californica. In the Gulf of California, we have ragweed, foxtail. In the Caribbean, we have rosewood, yucatecan, guamuchil. In the Gulf of Mexico, we have white plum and black oak. In the South Pacific, we have beech stick and holy tree. Now, fauna. In fauna, we have the decomposers, worms, bacteria, fungus, producers. Producers are chamiso, Sierra porcelain, beach vine, black chechen, the ones we mentioned already. Primary. Okay. Primary, we have bees, wasps, ants, beetles, spiders, and flies. Secondary, we have toads, frogs, turtles, herons, mice, rabbits, etc. And in the tertiary, we have hawks, vultures, and eagle foxes. We also have a wide variety of species that adapted to the sandy environment, such as crabs, like the gauze crab, or reptiles, like the huicos. We also have various snakes, turtles, etc. Now we have other types of animals. We have that in the wetland areas we find caimans, we find crocodiles too. We have in the bears we have hawks, the vultures we already mentioned, and the rattlesnakes. In the mammals we have opus and bats and gray fox, ocelot, etc.
Endemic species. Mexico's coastal dunes are home to endemic plant and animal species, such as the silver palm and the Cape's Bridalizia turtle. Other important species include the broom flower, the beach vine, and the beach grace. Exotic species. Another group of species are exotic species, meaning they are not native to Mexico and have been introduced through cultivation or have invaded these coastal environments and no occur naturally. They are highly invasive and displace native species. Three of the species that are increasing their presence on the dunes are air repens and sea silaris, but dispersed by humans who increasingly walk on the dunes for treatment or scientific reasons, helping their dispersal. The third is P. maximum, introduced by ranchers into the dune systems where they graze their cattle, and which subsequently spreads on its own or is aided by the cattle.
Now we have the example of a food web. This image shows a relationship between different organisms on the coastal dunes. We have the trophic levels. First, we have the producers that are the organisms that make their own food, and usually it's through the photosynthesis, like we can see here in the image. We have only plants or flora about the ecosystem. We have the sea grape, black chicken, and the beach bend. And then we have the primary consumers. These are animals that eat the producers, and we have a beetle, an ant, and a bee. Then for the secondary, we have a mouse, a toad, and rabbits, and these animals eat the primary and sometimes other producers. And for the last level, we have the tertiary consumers, and we have the vulture and the fox. But here in the example of the food web, we also have that the vulture and the beetle can work as decomposers. This is because they have other niches or works that help to decompose the material of all the other levels. Okay, now, how this ecosystem benefits the world. Coastal dunes play a vital role in protecting the coastline and the lives of the communities that depend on them. However, their importance remains largely unrecognized, even when discussing coastals and marine conservation. Coastal dunes are much more than mounds of sand. They are living ecosystems that perform essential functions for nature and human communities. They act as a natural barrier against hurricanes, storm surges, protecting infrastructure and reducing erosion. They also filter and store water, contributing to the water balance of coastal areas. Now, how it relates to politics, economics, culture, and psychology. As we know, the human impact on coastal dunes is largely negative because it affects their stability and ecological function. Some of the human activities that affect in a negative way is the destruction of stabilizing vegetation, the coastal development infrastructure, like building houses, roads, hotels, etc. The pollution and waste, of course, that is a problem in every ecosystem, actually. The direct resource extraction, in this case, is the same meaning because sand is directly removed from the dunes for use in construction and industry. But we have positive actions or possibly activities that help to the ecosystem. For example, in political, we have the focuses on managing and conserving these ecosystems through government programs, and some like the Semarnat, the CONAMT, and CONAF4, Promarnat, and SOFEMAT. In an economical way, the experts explain that protecting coastal ecosystems early is both smart and cost-effective because the destruction leads to serious problems, and the economy of conservation has like the money society saves by avoiding expensive protection and restoration projects. In a cultural and social perspective, we have the Mexican laws such as the Peace Program motivate people to actively preserve natural resources and protect and safeguard the community cultural, historical, and recreational values, improving people's well-being. When dunes are destroyed, communities lose both natural benefits, like recreation areas, and their emotional and cultural connection to the environment. Therefore, it is essential to respect the traditional rights, customs, and practices of coastal communities to maintain awareness and responsibility for protecting these vital ecosystems.
Okay, this ecosystem is very vulnerable and offers many benefits, as we saw. So we are responsible for the destruction and this gradual disappearance. It is our responsibility to represent it and each species that lives here, as they are important for biodiversity and protection.
Thank you for the attention. That's all of the presentation.